There was something that I found, like, I don't know if it was a common ground for you both, obviously with you being in sport, Tom, and Lance with you in entertainment, but in your fields, have they been an outlet for you in that, you know, we when we talk around, you know, mental health and when we process things on our well-being, have you found that, Tom, for you with diving and being in the pool is a place for you to go and go, right, I can just let myself be and flow in there? And same for you in your writing, Lance, can you just use that as a release almost?
I would say diving is the opposite of a release. Yeah. That is where all my stress comes from. Yeah, really? All of my anxiety. That's the only thing in my life where I feel pressure. Whereas it's actually prepared me for life in a way that is so, like, you know, that, I mean, at the end of the day, diving is just a game. And the Olympics are just a game. It's the Olympic Games. It's the Olympics of all the games combined. So if you think about it like that, the pressure kind of gets taken off and you're like, okay, you know what? It's just a game. We do our best to see if we can win, but it is just a game. But yeah, I would say diving is definitely not, especially when I'm doing all my hard dives off 10 meter, it's definitely not a stress reliever. The thing that I do now actually to relieve stress is knit, believe it or not. So so I've been knitting galore.
You should believe it, because we have all of the very strange and some beautiful things he's created in the past few weeks.
What have you been creating, Tom? What little scarves, gloves?
Gloves are actually a lot harder than they look. I've not tried gloves yet, but I've done scarves, I've done hats, I've done a poncho, I've done a jumper, a few blankets.
A hat for me, a hat for Robbie.
Yeah, so I've been making all sorts. I'm currently in the middle of making a cable throw blanket.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been really going for it.
I've got this vision of Lance and Robbie just like sat next to you, but all like in all your knitwear, like hat.
Literally,
we're heading that direction.
Yeah. I just sit there knitting like this.
Little cup of tea.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was the dream.
Yeah,
I can answer it very quickly that it's the same for me. My
really,
work, it's not a no. It's if any. I mean, listen, I do mostly work on true stories where there's often violence involved, politics involved. I in my research end up in maximum security prisons talking to murderers, and if anything, you know, I find my work is a responsibility for me. It's about trying my best to move the needle towards social justice. That's not stress-free. So stress relief is something I find outside of work. And, and that becomes a challenge in lockdown. It's a challenge at any time, but I think like any good therapist has to have a therapist. Any good filmmaker, storyteller also needs their therapy, their places to decompress.
We work out together. I think so. Like occasionally we go for runs together, and like any exercise that's not diving related, I find is like a stress reliever. Like if we go for runs, or if we do like spin class, or we do like workouts together, like anything like that is kind of relieves stress. But when it comes to the things that we do as our career, that's when it can be stressful.
Okay, working out with you is often a stress reliever, but on occasion, when I see you, I'm going as hard as I can, running, and all I see is you getting further and further in front of me. It's stressful. And then when I finally catch up and you're not sweating, you're not breathing deeply, and in fact, I'm still running at the fastest clip I can, and I look to my right and you're walking. And you're keeping up with me.
I did. We went for a run the other day and he was just jogging like this.
I wasn't jogging, I was sprinting.
You were. And it was like more effort to jog. So I just started walking.
Oh.
So I just started speed walking and it was the same as his jog.
I'm sweating just thinking about it.
It is really hot.
Lance, you're not alone. I'll be at your speed. So okay. I'll come running with you so we feel a bit more normal.
Thank you. I'm trying to do a sub 20-minute 5K. And my closest is 20:31 at the minute.
That's still quick, Tom.
Yeah, it's quick, but it's not quick enough. It's not quick enough. Lance's 5K speed, was 26 and a half minutes?
Oh, I can do it in 10 in a car.
Yeah, wow.
Lance has got the 6-minute mile in his back pocket, just ready to pull out whenever he wants.
Yeah.
You mentioned it there, Tom, but pressure. You know, that's something that I think a lot of people have felt, particularly in this 2 months, of them putting that pressure on themselves, and we feel it in our day to day. But I think it's very obviously present in both your careers. How do you deal with that? Because you've got such a pressure in your sport, and same with you, Lance, with the pressure of course, having written brilliant scripts and won awards. Then do you feel the pressure to, you know, you want to kind of deliver on that same level? How do you deal with that?
I think for me, pressure is all about perspective. If you make, for example, if I'm standing on the diving board, which I have done in the past, thinking that this is it, this is the biggest moment, this is all that I've worked for, this is the moment. If this goes wrong, it's going to be a catastrophe. But if it goes right, it's going to be incredible. This is everything that I've been working for. When actually, diving doesn't define me. It's not who I am. It's something I do. Mm-hmm. And since having Robbie has kind of given me the perspective of what actually matters most. And that's Robbie. And, you know, I can do really well or really poorly in the pool. And then I can come home and Robbie's not going to care either way, whether I've done well or if I haven't. So just remembering that of what actually matters, and that giving yourself a sense of perspective can often take the pressure off.
And how about for yourself, Lance?
Gosh, it's just different from day to day to day. There are days where I really do, I'll admit, I start comparing what I'm doing now to the past, and that's, you know, never good. It's certainly not creative. Plus, as someone who does biography, I'm well aware that the past is fiction. Like memory is this spongy thing. And so we may even be comparing ourselves to a past that we're glorifying. That makes it even harder. So, you know, I think, you know, for the most part, I try to be in the moment and trust my gut when I'm actually writing. And for the most part, when I'm actually doing the writing or the filmmaking, I do forget that there's a context I'm doing it within. It's usually just like those moments, those seconds after a premiere when you remember all the reviews are going to come out. That's the danger moment. That's the moment when you might let other people's opinions seep in. It's very, very dangerous. And you might start all the comparing. And it's absolutely anti-creative. I'm not going to lie. I fall into the trap sometimes. And then my trick I try is to trust your gut, go with your gut, and you know, not overthink. That tends to not only get you past the comparing, but it makes the work, you know, have more life. If you can feel it, it has more life. So, and then I'm lucky because I have the most schizophrenic career, and it's, I guess, by design. I just sometimes get bored and I say, well, maybe I'll write a book this year. Or maybe I'll wage a Supreme Court case. I don't know. So you know, in that sort of schizophrenia of my career it keeps everything quite new.
And are there any other things that you both find you kind of practice or do to look after your mental well-being and health?
I mean, we both do practice mindfulness as often as we can, less often now with Robbie. But that was actually the reason why I started knitting before lockdown, was to escape from diving, escape from everything, kind of just be really in the moment and mindful of what I was doing right then and there. So actually it's come in handy about when I actually learned to do it, because now it's passing a lot of time in lockdown. But, you know, I think that's the one thing that I do to try and just switch off from everything. And I think it is important to take time to just be in the moment. And I've been guilty of, you know, looking forward to what's going to be next. When are we going to come out of lockdown? How do we plan? What are we going to do? And actually all you can focus on is what's happening today. You can't think about what's happening tomorrow until you know what's going to happen tomorrow. So may as well just try and focus on the here and now.
Here and now.
Yeah. Chocolate. I think eating chocolate. Yeah. That's replaced what I used to do and love, which was taking hikes and long walks, which are really focusing. But you know, there's not a lot of hiking in London.
No.
And right now, taking walks is a little stressful because we were supposed to keep some distance, and so chocolate. Chocolate cake. You guys have some of the best chocolate in the world here, so just eating it, you know, right? That's.
Cut two. We'll cross paths, and when this is all over, and I'll be like 4 stone heavy, and I'll be like, I stuck to the chocolate, Lance.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, right now we're all just doing the best we can to find our happy places, right? And if on occasion I would want a little Cadbury's, well, I'm not going to beat myself up about it.
Or 3 bowls of cereal in the middle of the night.
Or 3 bowls of Cocoa Pops at 3 a.m.
Lance, high-five me on that. That is me all over.
Yeah.
It's the most underestimated meal. It goes for any time of day.
It's the best.
He literally does eat at any time of day.
Yeah, that's me. I've done since I was a kid.